this weekend, James, is it an opportunity to really see where you guys are at, or is it an opportunity to seriously go in with a fair dinkum realistic chance of winning this game?
I think it's the same as every week, and the rest of the year it's about developing our players and improving. And yeah, we think we can win the game. We're going to have to play very well. We're going to have to do a lot of things right. But yeah, we go into every game thinking we can win. And but as we said this year, it's about improvement, development, and testing our players. And also, you know, we've been teaching a lot along the journey, and a lot of the things we've been teaching have been coming off for 3 quarters, 2 quarters, but not for 4 quarters. So it'd be nice to get that happening for the whole game.
Was the first half against Carlton the benchmark?
For us?
Yeah.
Thought it was okay against Carlton. I don't think it was our, you know, I think we can still play better than that. I think probably Geelong was better than that. But in that game you saw a number of different things happen, and you know, a guy like Jake Carlisle got to play his first game for the year and showed he can really play football. So, you know, there's a lot of good things to come out of every game we've played so far this year.
When you're trying to beat a side like Collingwood, how significant is it to be able to bring Joe back in?
Oh, it's very significant. Bring your captain back in, but we've also got to realise that Joe's played, I think, 2 games or 3 games in 9 weeks. So, you know, we'll ease Joe back into the game. We're very excited to have him back. He's our best player, he's our captain. We're also not going to put too much expectation on him that he has to come out and be the best player. He just has to play his role, and we'll go from there.
Is that hard for Joe though, because he'd probably put that expectation on himself, wouldn't he, when he runs out?
Oh yeah, he's a competitor. That's why he's such a good player, and that's why he's our captain, because he does compete so well. But you know, we've got a realistic point of view about where he's at, you know, this week, and we'll play him accordingly.
Does that mean you give him one of the 2 vests, James?
No, we won't. Well, hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully we won't have to give him the red one, but he won't be in the green one.
Michael Hurley's been playing sore for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Now. He's just come for a week off to get himself a little bit recovered.
Yeah, Hurl's got a sore foot, and it's a stress reaction, so it's not a stress fracture, but it's a bone in his foot that's not one of the significant ones. But we just wanted to be careful with him and make sure that, you know, that we don't do the wrong thing by the player. And I think that at certain times you've got to make decisions about players, and that might be 2 weeks, might be 3 weeks, it might, you know, we'll see how it goes. But we want to make sure that the heat comes out of his foot and that he's playing not sore.
It certainly doesn't help given the injuries in the back line at the moment.
No.
Do you use Paddy Ryder there and bring in Tom Bellchambers?
Yeah, Tommy will play. David Myers will probably start back there. We might even throw David Hill back there for a while. And you know, Cloak's such a big body that we need a big body to compete against him. But we have got some options. But as you said, it's significant when Pears, Hurley, and Fletcher and Carl Hooker are all out of your team, which are your first 4 choices are your big players. But you know, excitingly, Jake Carlisle was terrific last week, I thought, at centre half back, and so we needed to play someone there. We found Jake, and he hasn't played a lot of football centre half back for Essendon, so that was good, and he'll continue there this week.
Hurley's foot, is that related to the calf toe thing he had about a month ago, or is that separate?
No, it's separate. I think it's just the wear and tear of football, and you know, Hurls is still a young player, so young players get these sort of things, but we're making the decision not to play him this week, not because he has broken down, but to make sure that we do the right thing by the player for his long-term career.
How long has he been feeling pain?
Hurls has been sore on the foot for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I think Geelong, yeah, the last 3 games he's been a bit sore. So I mean, the quality of football he's played with that injury has been terrific.
And would you consider then writing him off for the rest of the year? And that's quite a serious sort of.
No, we don't. We've sort of picked it up before it's got serious. So we think a week or 2, hopefully we'll just be able to ease him back into training and then into playing. So that's why we've made the decision now, so that we haven't finished his year.
And you're 100% sure it's not stress fractures. How can you be sure about that?
Well, it was a thing called a CT scan, and that said it's not. So yeah, that's we can only go on what the medical advice is, and the medical advice is not a stress fracture.
How close was Fletcher?
Fletcher's an interesting one. Fletch got a corky against Adelaide, and we thought it was fine, and turned up Friday morning this time last week, and had his calf had almost doubled in size. It bled for some reason overnight. So we thought Fletch would come up this week, but he just didn't quite get up, which is disappointing for Fletch and for us, considering the quality of forward line player they've got. But we'd expect he'll play next week, but we expect he'll play this week as well. So it's a knock, and we just need to be careful with him as well.
For the bookies, James, Simon Goodwin's one of the favourites for the Adelaide job.
Yep.
Is he ready for it, and are you ready to lose him?
Oh, look, we'd hate to lose him. Simon is he's a terrific person, a quality person to have around our club. We've been very lucky to attract someone like Simon to our club. He's an excellent coach. The players just love what he talks about. He's very football smart. So we would hate to lose him, but understandably, if it does happen that he goes back to Adelaide, he'd go with our blessing, and we'd be very happy for him. But we would definitely hope that he would stay, but would understand if he goes, and also Brendan McCartney as well. I know that his name hasn't been mentioned, but there's not a guy more qualified to coach in AFL ranks than Brendan as a senior coach. So both those guys, I'm sure, get sounded out as the process goes on.
So where they stand now, Brendan's probably ahead of Simon from a coaching point of view.
Oh, there's no doubt. Brendan's one of the more qualified AFL assistant coaches, and but Simon, being the favourite son, I suppose, would lean that way too.
The second week in a row, Verdi, an opposition coach has said that you guys have changed your game plan significantly mid-season. Can you expand on perhaps what they may be talking about, and is that right that you guys have really changed direction with mid-season?
I think I answered this week. We've changed some subtle things, and I think most clubs have. I don't think we've changed dramatically what we're doing. We're using the ball a little bit differently. I think earlier in the year we're getting picked off for just going too long too often and not using the ball as well. So some subtle changes in our ball movement, but a lot of that comes around personnel as well. We've probably decided not to play those three talls at certain stages, so we've had to use the ball a little bit lower and not kick it as long. But yeah, I don't think it's a drastic change the way we play.
I'm sure you're not interested in this, but Matty Knights and Matthew Lloyd had a bit of a tete-a-tete during the week. Do you consider Matthew Lloyd, having played a lot of football with him, a selfish player, as Knights alleged this week?
No, I don't. No, I don't consider him a selfish player at all. But I'd rather just let Matthew duel that out themselves.
Has a decision, James, been taken on the future of the VFL side?
No. I know there's several meetings with the VFL or the Football Victoria, but yeah, that's they'll work that out with our management, and I'm not sure where that's at the moment.
What would you like to see happen as far as what you would envisage as the pathway to success for this club?
I'd like just to see that our players, play with us and also go around and also spread the word about football. But whether that's with Bendigo or with Essendon, that'll be decided by the AFL Victoria and also Essendon, and those discussions I think should remain confidential, as with all clubs, until decisions have been made.
But you don't see having the team players playing in Bendigo, the distance as any disadvantage for yourselves?
Not really. I mean, the distance to Bendigo's an hour, and the distance to out the other side of Melbourne's an hour from here, or an hour and a half. So it's not, as I said, that it's not too big a concern.
How well's Collingwood going at the moment, James, in your view?
Oh, they're going very well. They have a lot of talent. They play a fantastic brand of football, which is very team orientated. They have their star power, but I think the strength of Collingwood is built around the way they've all played together and the unselfishness about the way they play together. They understand where each other are going to go, and they're just playing like a fantastic football team that is almost prepared to win another premiership. So there is, in some ways, it's really good to see a team play like that. Probably not so when you're about to play them the week before.
That you've overcome Geelong must be a massive boost of confidence approaching a game like this.
Yeah, what we took out of Geelong is that we can play a style of football that's competitive with good sides, but we also learned a lot out of Geelong. Collingwood and Geelong are very different teams, play a very different style of football. So we've treated this game in isolation, not looked at the Geelong game too much.
So where do you beat them, James? How do you do it?
We'll find out Sunday, won't we? Yeah, look, I think our players, as I said, need to improve. We need to develop on the field and need to play a brand of football that doesn't allow Collingwood to keep the ball in their forward half for as long as they do. And if we can do that, we're a chance. But we need to win the stoppages. We need to use the ball properly, and we need to defend really well across the ground. Basics of football, we do them well, we're a chance.